Hello people, and welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines Modular Builds. We're having a wonderful day. And thank you for all the support, likes, comments and suggestions on the last modular build, which was our aviation club with surrounds. And thank you to the person that suggested it in the Discord. Hope you enjoyed it. I think you did. I had no severe negative feedback anyway. But yeah, really cute build. Nice way of expanding something around the aviation club. It looks pretty cute. Now we've got some people milling around here as well. Nice little combination of commercial zoning and park life assets in here as well. Yeah, I think it's really cute. But anyway, today's modular build, we're going to be ticking off another viewer request for a commercial plaza downtown build. This build is going to be making use of some public transport and of course the commercial downtown content creator pack. I can't remember the name right now, I'll throw it up on screen. But obviously you guys would have seen what DLCs you need for this particular build at the start of the video. Let's go ahead and dive in. So we have this kind of like mock downtown here, you know, this is where we built our like downtown open air plaza. We also threw in a transport hub in here as well, so it's kind of like bits of a downtown glued together, if you like. And this is what we're going to do, so either find a space within your downtown to place this, or where the edge of your downtown is, you could tether it onto that. Now, this is very much a downtown themed build, so don't stick it in the suburbs, because it'll look a little bit weird. Okay, for public transport for this, I'm going to be using mainly trams, obviously because trams for the win. However, any other type of road-based public transport will work. You can go for buses, trolley buses, or trams. If you want to get metro in, you can. Although you will have to use the underground one. The measurements we're using today won't really allow the space for the overground metro station. But we will squeeze in a couple of underground ones as well. Okay, so starting from the tip of today's build, I'm going to be factoring trams into this. So if you're not using trams for this build, then obviously don't draw it in a tram road. We're going to come ahead and grab our 4-lane decorative road with trees. And we're just going to draw out our basic frame here, which is going to be 40 by 20 tiles. Let's draw all these road guidelines in. So this one along right here is 40 and the sides are 20. You'll end up with a nice little rectangle that looks a little bit something like that. Okay, we're going to come into the world of public transport. We're going to grab ourselves a 2-lane road with tram tracks. Then we're going to draw this out by a distance of 420. You'll kind of make a little plaza here. Then we're going to come out by a distance of 5 on either side of this. Again, still using those tram roads. And then from this point, we're going to switch to a 1-way tram track. I'm going to draw this out by 360. And then draw it up and into it like this. Okay, so we're making the centerpiece of this particular build like a little tram interchange loop. You can have multiple different tram lines converge here. You can have this as the end of the tram line. If you did want to turn this into a type of tram interchange, then what you could do is draw out another tram road from here and then take an entirely new tram system off in any direction from this square. So use it as a tram interchange or the end of a tram line. Obviously, everyone's city will differ. Now you're probably thinking, why have we gone with the road on this particular section? This is because we want to place in the zoo plazas, or any kind of park life plaza. It doesn't have to be the zoo. But the zoo plazas do have a particular spice about them that does just really, really appeal. And we'll drop in a couple of these in the centre as well. So it's a nice little focal point for our trams to stop around here. Okay. And then we can delete this top road. Come in and grab the 1-way tram track again. And then just bring it behind the plazas. And then take these out. So if you wanted to kind of keep that symmetry, you could then grab the tram road from this one. And take your tram line off in that direction. I think this is what I'll do for mine. And then I might convert, say, this corner of the build into more tramroad and expand the tram system out that way. You can kind of see how that idea works. You know, whichever direction you want to take it, just build out in that direction from this little rectangle that we're starting with here. So for right now, this will be kind of the meat and potatoes of the build so far, right? And what we want to do, of course, is we want to draw out a district. So grab a district tool and just follow the road snap points. A little bit like that. Open it up and change the style to the Modern City Centre, which is the creator pack we are working with today, of course. And then we're going to grab some high density commercial. And we're going to surround this rectangle with it. So obviously if this is part of your downtown, of course you want to make sure that you're kind of carrying on your downtown, so you know, draw those corners out. Same here as well. You know, if you're doing it that way too, you know, just factor it into whatever you're doing here. I'll just cut this down. We really need to start a new modular build map. This one has gotten so messy. We will soon, I promise. Okay. I'm just going to surround my little flanks here with all of this Modern City Centre creator pack. It's the first time I've ever used this creator pack in a build as well. Hopefully you guys will kind of see the vibe that we get from it. So I'll hang around and wait for some of these buildings to come in, and we'll kind of check out what we're looking at here. So we've got some of these buildings coming in now, and you can kind of see that vibe that we're going for, right? They're all uniform in height. Got some nice commercial vibes about it. And it really kind of hems in this plaza, you know, it gives it a nice border. And you can almost like see this little cross section of downtown road, where your downtown continues into residential, or it might continue into like another unique build, maybe focused around a unique building or something. This is the cross section we're looking to generate, and the Modern City Centre Creator Pack does it really well. If you don't have it, you can still use this build. Obviously just use regular high density commercial, and then find an asset that you like, and you can kind of see the difference here. This is regular high density commercial, and then this is the Modern City Centre stuff. It's up to you. The Modern City Centre really does help create just a different vibe, especially when it's all kind of facing into this central plaza. Okay, and then we're going to start working on the sides of this thing right here. So there are multiple different things you can do with this. If we come back to our snapping on, if we find the middle node point here, you know, we can see that we're in the middle. You can also identify it by this little blue circle in the middle, which is the marker of 10. Then we're going to click out from this by 300. And then you want to turn off your road guideline. What this will ensure is that you're snapping to the grid and the angle rather than the road guidelines that are going to appear from these, because that can fracture your zoning. We're going to come out by 200, 300, 400, 300, and 200. So the whole point of this exercise is to look for these perfect zoning squares here. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to throw in a little 4x4 commercial block in here. And then around the sides, we're going to get in some pathways. Just as decoration. You don't kind of have to do that, because obviously they can walk on the pavement right here. But I often find with the downtown builds, the less green you factor into them, the more authentic that they look. It's up to you which one. But if you don't like the commercial asset that generates in here, then by all means, feel free to change it to like an office zoning. It doesn't have to be commercial. But just so there's something here, you know. Have a play with it, try out some different zoning options, wait for different assets to come in. Obviously if you're playing with plot the growables, then you don't need to do that, but you know, it's an option available to you if you want it. Okay, and then with that space that we've got left between now, we can run our pathways through here. And then we'll do the same on the other side here too. And then you could even cut it through here into the middle if you want. And then do it on these corners too. We're starting to generate a little bit of symmetry around the central plaza. But now we'll take a look at kind of the head building, like the real meat and potatoes, right? So we're going to come ahead and grab our 2-lane one-way road with grass. Then we're going to draw this out from the snap node just to the left of where the path aligns. You see we can't get right in the middle, but we can either go just to the right or just to the left. So one on the left, this one right here you want to draw out from. And we'll come out by 250. And then we want to do the same coming down here as well. Okay. And then you can check your level just by looking at these. You've got 5 tiles between the zebra crossing and this road. And 5 tiles here as well, with 2 left in the middle. That's how you know that you're level. In terms of the unique building that you can throw in this thing, the Grand Library centralizes perfectly, which is always appreciated. And it kind of has that nice... It's always nice to tether something into your unique buildings rather than just placing them on a road and leaving them be. You know, give them their own little mini build of their own. You know, if you've already used the Grand Library, or maybe you don't have it, let's have a look at another one. The Academic Library also works quite nicely here as well. Again, it centralizes perfectly. And especially when you look down the middle here, you know everything's symmetrical with one another. And you can imagine when the trams are kind of coming to and from this place as well. Yeah, that one will work as well. Academic Library is always a good shout. The Aquarium also centralizes. It's a little bit out of character with the rest of the build. Because it's, I don't know, it's just not like my favorite asset. I think it's the colors that kind of get me, that kind of gets me a little bit. So yeah, Aquarium will work, as will your Ziggurat Garden. If you are going to use the Ziggurat, this is a perfect opportunity to transition into a more of a Green Cities themed build in your downtown. So you can kind of use this point to then transition into Green Cities and use the Ziggurat Garden as like a focal point to do that. Transport Tower will also centralize. If you're not bothered about that kind of centralization with the Central Plaza, then just use whatever you want. But it really does, it's just an extra dusting of that spice on the build, I think. The Transport Tower is a good option too. But either way, just have a look through your unique buildings, find one that you like. I'm going to go with the Grand Library, just because it's not the tallest unique building in the world, but you know, it is a really cool looking asset. Got these awesome looking windows on it as well. Yeah, it's the Grand Library for me, but by all means, feel free to throw in there whatever you want to. It really is kind of up to you. And then with these spaces at the front, this is where we can squeeze in our underground metro stations. So you can spin them on their sides. And then you can feed these away into different directions. Obviously hook them into kind of like an existing metro network. And then if you wanted to create a new one, come out by 10 and curve by 10. And then start taking people off in that direction. Now everyone's city here will be different. You could even carry this one on to run down that way, and then you can bring this one down to the front of the build and curve it again, and then take people off into that direction. So really, obviously, everyone's is different, but it's also, again, a nice bit of symmetry. And you can imagine as well, all the people kind of pouring out of this thing will look pretty sweet as well. In terms of this space that we've got to the left of the tram loop here, you can do really whatever you want. If you want to repeat this pattern and keep it symmetrical, then you can do. Otherwise, there are a couple of different options I've run through here. You know, this is really kind of up to everyone's city. Whatever you want in this area, you can put in yourself. You don't have to follow the build, kind of building for building. It is very kind of customizable to what you've got available and how you want it to look, I suppose. So I kind of run through a couple of different options here. If you're looking to get a school in, go into your school stuff, the Institute of Creative Arts is a really nice building to squeeze into this area. Kind of not only are you educating your Sims in local residential areas, but you'll boost the level of nearby commercial as well. And it really complements the Grand Library as well. And they've got these kind of same, I don't know what the term is here, I don't know what the architecture term is, but you know, like slanted angles, different shapes and colours on them. Institute of Creative Arts works really nicely. And then what you can do here, you can even plan in like a small park area and just have like a little city park in here that you can charge people to come in and out of. Or if you're not a fan of the Institute of Creative Arts, or you're not playing with it, then obviously just use the regular high school. Otherwise, we can kind of draw out here by like a larger box. Let's just come right in, so we're hugging into 1 tile gaps between the main frame of the road. And then your options are nearly endless. You've got a lot of the Japanese content creator stuff that works nicely in here too. Maybe looking for a little bit more height around that plaza. Then, yeah, which one is this called? This is the local register office. You know, if you maybe want something a little smaller, the city office building comes in as well. And it also gives you a little bit of breathing room between all this tall, like high density stuff, you know? You've got that little bit of open space that you can fill with either park life assets or paths or more tree detailing. You know, not everything isn't kind of like crammed in like this little cross section is here. You know, you've just got a little bit of breathing space between this building and this row. So whatever you want to put here, draw out a little road border and have a look what will fit. You can go for something like a little bit tall, like the high-rise building. This one probably won't fit. Yeah, it's too big. And then you've got all kind of this stuff in here as well. It's like the rail yard shopping centre. The television station also works really nicely here as well. Comes in nicely against the paths, where it's got these little parking decals on it as well. So yeah, kind of take your pick of the asset and decide what works for you, I guess. I'm probably going to end up going with one of the Japanese content creator stuff. Have a flick through your unique buildings. This is a great opportunity to use maybe a plaza that you've been looking to place for a while. You know, the Statue of Wealth fits in quite nicely here too. So just have a little play. See what would work nicely. Okay guys, but that feels like a good place to jump into a detailing time lapse. We're going to kind of bulk out this central plaza here with some trees, and I'll settle on something that I want to sit within this corner. And also get some trams flowing through here as well. And just expand down these roads a little bit as well, so we can kind of see this thing surrounded by a downtown, almost like we did with our downtown plaza over here. You know, it's kind of got stuff behind it like these residentials, and you can see like a distant skyline over there as well, just so you can kind of get a gauge for the atmosphere as to how this thing is actually going to appear once it's in your downtown area. And before that little detailing time-lapse, guys, I've forgotten to mention one critical thing. The reason why we have roads here was so we can place these plazas, but once they're in, we can actually upgrade them back into regular roads. Also, we want the one-way here. Yeah, so this is pretty cute. They will stay classed as connected once you downgrade the roads. So it's a nice little way of cheesing some park life plazas into this build. You can see there's still little people walking across to them. So don't forget to do that if you want to get rid of the road texture. Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. If you've enjoyed the video, a like below is always appreciated. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. I'm really happy with this. It's a cool way of using up some unique buildings, all focused around kind of a central public transport hub like we've got with the trams and the metro here. Obviously feel free to throw in any type of public transport that you like. Possibly adjust this to fit a monorail too, that would look cool. Obviously some rock gardens in and some slight detailing too, and it's a nice way of breaking off that downtown grid, you know. Have something unique that's in there that breaks that traditional grid pattern and also allows you to kind of central focal point around a unique building. As you can see, lots of people walking around using the paths that we've used as detailing, and all the unique buildings are attracting a ton of people. So if you are going to use this, do get some public transport in there as well. Otherwise you'll really notice the pressure on the roads. Thank you very much for the suggestion of a downtown commercial plaza. I hope it was worth it. If not, please do let me know in the comments below. Otherwise I will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.